What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and we're here answering your questions in another For the Greater. Well, we gotta speak into this now.
Yeah, this is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first.
And that is what?
Oh, damn.
You don't even have it.
I was distracted by these new mics. Please, in the comment section, let us know how it sounds. It's going to take us a while before we can actually get into, like, the actual... until it sounds good.
Yeah.
But we're working on it. This question comes from Chris Tien. He asks, would the Chaos Gods sit back and watch the Imperium burn with the return of the Emperor? That's a good question. The short answer is no. The long answer is, of course not. So if the Emperor did come back, I guess it all depends on how the Emperor would come back in the first place. There's multiple scenarios. So like the first scenario is if the Emperor came back as who he was back in the day. So during the Horus Heresy, he was just a human, a really intelligent, a really powerful, and psychically powerful human being. But if he came back as that, I think the Emperor, or I think the Chaos Gods would have, it would be scarier for them. Just because the Chaos Gods wanted to get rid of the Emperor in the first place, or really they just wanted to cause havoc to the Great Crusade, right?
Here's the question, though. Do you think that the Emperor was beyond Primarch level, or is he just so regarded as, like, the pinnacle of humanity because of his, like, he was the strongest psyker?
Right. So if he did come back like he was during the Horus Heresy, I do think he would be better than Guilliman. I think he would be more powerful than any of the even traitor Primarchs. So like Demon Fulgrim, Demon Mortarion, or Magnus the Red. I think he would be more powerful or equal to probably Magnus the Red in psychic terms.
And you don't think sitting on the throne for all these years will affect him negatively?
Well, that's the thing. So if he came back that way, that's what I think.
In his prime is what you're saying.
Right, yeah. If he came back and he was all nasty and mummified...
He's already nasty and mummified.
Then in that situation, the Chaos Gods wouldn't really care. Of course, humanity would have to figure out a way to power the Astronomicon with him being in that state off of the Golden Throne. But I don't think the Chaos Gods would care if he came back in the state that he's in right now, like all mummified and gross.
Well, I think if he came back, even in the state he's back now, just for humanity to know that their God Emperor has returned, that should be enough to kind of quell back the forces and the cultists of chaos. Why would you give your life for a god that doesn't care about you when the Emperor has literally just returned to protect you?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, he would come back, but he wouldn't be able to protect anybody because he is all, like, mummified and dilapidated. If he came back as, like, the Great Crusade era Emperor, yes, I do think that a lot of traders would be like, oh, shit, we messed up. But just like any gang, blood in, blood out. So those chaos cultists might repent, but repenting means death to them.
Right.
And I think chaos... You think chaos would I don't think chaos would mind these people turning away. I think what chaos would care more about is like, okay, now let's start a conflict where they can hurt each other and we can further our chaotic agenda.
Definitely. Now that he's alive and in the flesh, that is definitely the Emperor at his weakest, because he's just now going out there into the front lines, I would assume, and obviously you could strike his body then and there.
Yeah, a similar thing happened when Guilliman returned. When Guilliman returned, the Eye of Terror was Abaddon, who decided to crash his giant ship. Or no, it was a Blackstone Fortress, right?
Yeah, Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah, it was a Blackstone Fortress into Cadia, destroying the Cadian pylons and gates and whatnot. And then creating the, what is it called? The Maelstrom? No,
the Maledictum, the big tear that split the galaxy in two. Yeah,
I think a similar thing would happen if the Emperor came back. Both scenarios of like either all powerful or a mummy, basically, a mummy lord, if you will. I think that
I will.
the reason I say that is because of the Age of Sigmar guys.
Oh, the Bone Reapers.
Yeah, they basically are just
emperors.
Yeah, cool ass mummies.
Yeah.
So I think the chaos would try to like take advantage of the little bit of chaos that would happen from him coming back, and then they would do a push towards somehow getting more powerful. Whether that means like creating more terrors, whether that means trying to maybe even turn Terra, like half of Terra, to be consumed by chaos. Because that's another thing we have to talk about. If the Emperor returns, regardless of how he returns, that's Warp Gate right on Terra that's now open. Mm-hmm. And I think that GW would take that take that advantage or take that scenario and just introduce like a bunch of like chaos, corruption, chaos cults, chaos uprisings on Terra itself, and just sell a bunch of cool ass terrain pieces.
Yeah, that's definitely something that would be very interesting to explore, just because usually you have these campaigns that span planets, span like the whole galaxy, and now you can literally go like almost city hunting as you're fighting through the towns and like the palace of Terra and everything on there. So I think it'll make a grand scale battle feel much more at home because it's on Terra and it's not taking place like across, millions of miles or whatever. It's right there on just one planet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, what that would do is it would push away all of the Xeno stuff for a while, which is what GW has been doing for a while.
That's what it currently is. Like, yes, we're getting Eldar stuff, but in between, like 2-3 Eldar releases, here's some Inceptors, here's some supplements. It's all Space Marine stuff.
Yeah, so it would be a bummer for all of us Xeno players if the Emperor came back and they did do something with like a war on Terra. Mm-hmm. Then because like, how are you going to include orcs into this war on Terra? There's no way that an orc fleet is going to make their way to Terra.
Or you can say that the Imperium is so busy fighting chaos that maybe an orc fleet slipped by.
Yeah, but that would be like a paragraph in like a supplement codex, and that's really what they've been doing.
They never even made landfall. They got blown up.
Yeah, some garbage like that. Yeah. Now let's go back to the Emperor returning. If the Emperor returned and he was not human but actually a god, which my theory is that like that is what the Eldar gods are. I think they are old ones who had enough devotion from all the races that they created, and then they just became gods like Isha and someone Cain and the laughing god Segra. If the Emperor came back as the god of the light, of the god of order, chaos I think would try to corrupt the Emperor in his god form.
Do you think just being in the warp would be enough to kind of corrupt him in some way?
I think so. Yeah, I think
because the warp isn't inherently evil.
Right.
It's just like there.
Right. It's just like whatever psychic emanation the races are putting out. That's what's being created, and that's what's coalescing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Force. Obviously, you have like Sith who use the Force for evil and like Force lightning, and you have Jedi who obviously can move stuff and. What's that one thing?
Melachorians?
Something like that.
Yeah, but everybody except for the Tau have Melachorians.
I forget what they're called, yeah.
And by that it's just like psychic abilities. Except for Gnolls. Gnolls don't have that. But we're getting off topic.
Yeah. So does the Emperor have Melachorian?
Yeah. So
eczema?
So what I think would happen is the Emperor would come back with
the Army of the Light.
With the Army of the Light, but at the same time, he would be slightly corrupted, like you said, because he's been in chaos. He's not really the Emperor anymore, or the Emperor that left, because the Emperor that left was all about, like, no, imperial truth, humanity needs to handle their own stuff, and now all of a sudden, he is a god, and this god is telling humanity what to do in order to destroy the other gods.
Right, so, like, what's a king to a god?
Yeah, so, like, it's like that Dark Knight quote, which is quoted by, or that's taken from somewhere else, where it's like, what is it? Power corrupts, something about power corrupting you.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely?
Yeah. The Emperor would have absolute power to an incredible extent from what he had before. Before, he was trying to kill priests. He was trying to get rid of like worshiping other things like the Book of Lorgar and all that kind of stuff. Now it all came true. So of course he's going to be slightly corrupted, and I think Tzeentch, Slaanesh, maybe not Khorne or Nurgle, but they will try to like kind of use that to their advantage, and continue to corrupt the Emperor, which would be a completely different dynamic for the game. I think that would be fun, to introduce the Emperor as a god who is trying to be corrupted by chaos. So you could even have like the Emperor of the Light factions that are
separated from Space Marines,
separated from the Imperium, separated from the Emperor himself, and they're just kind of like kind of high on their own like power.
I could see it. I could see something like that. I could even see the Black Templars going to be a part of that, because they already praise the Emperor as a god.
Yeah, basically like the Black Templars, the Legion of the Damned, all those
saints, the Ecclesiarchy.
Yeah, all of them. Now you have the ability to create almost like a third faction within like the Chaos or the Traitor and Loyalist. Now you have Loyalists who kind of don't really side with Chaos, but don't side with the Loyalists because they've been corrupted by like their power.
It's like another civil war happened on Terra, and a third side came from it.
Yeah, it would, and then people can say, oh well, there's Malau, right? The renegade god. That's what this faction would be, like a renegade faction, who has been empowered by the Emperor's return as a god. That would be fun.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Would that happen? Yeah, I think GW would be smart to do it, just because we know that the number one thing that people care about in 40K are the human factions. So if you all of a sudden introduce a third faction where you just had the two, more money for you to make.
Yeah.
More conversions, more like supplements you can put out, which is what we complain about.
Yeah,
which
more Imperium stuff.
But yeah, GW could definitely make more money and create a completely different faction that they can profit off.
I feel like that's like playing it not safe, which I think GW tends to play safe most often, because why split the Emperor, like the most important thing to the Imperium and Space Marines and everything, like the most pivotal character, into something that the fan base, the player base, might not agree with you on.
Right. But
never know.
Yeah, I think that's a risk that they're willing to take. There's more that we could talk about with this topic, but I think we've taken enough time. You guys voted that you guys wanted longer.
Yeah, like one main question to be covered in the Greater Walls,
basically
supplemented by other questions.
Yeah, so that's what we did. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys think of what we just said, and let's jump on to some more questions.
This one is by Dars Dude. What's outside your window in the background?
The warp. After the whole Gilliman thing and the Cadia thing, we had to close the gate, which is why it's a little different, a little bit, a little crooked.
Because we're sitting crooked on Chrome.
Yeah, Chrome. Next question comes from David Mead. How long would the Ecclesiarchy last if the Emperor was to return? That kind of fits in what we were talking about. I think very long. I think the Ecclesiarchy is not... Well, I mean, again, it goes back to, like, how would he return? But if he returned as he was back in the day, because he was, like, anti-religion, I think that the same thing that happened to Gilliman would happen to the Emperor, where he's like, well, okay, I need to take care of all this other shit that's going on, and then I'll take care of that shit. The Ecclesiarchy would last, I don't know, maybe like 2,000-3,000 years, if that.
If that.
Yeah, it's tough to put out a number or even say, but I do think that the Emperor at some point would want to make it a priority to get rid of that stuff. So
unless, like we said, he actually becomes corrupted by the warp and believes himself as a true god.
Then the Ecclesiarchy, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Nope. Next question comes from...
The Vicarious One. Attempt Epsilon. I don't know what that means. Isn't that like
Star Trek.
Oh. What do you guys think Perturabo and Lorgar actually look like in their demon form?
I think I covered it in those videos.
Yeah, there actually is art of the two. Lorgar looks, how do I describe it? Demonic.
I was gonna say gay. No, but
I mean, he doesn't have the tattoos in his demon form, right?
That's Lorgar, right?
Yeah.
No, I think he still does. I think that Lorgar, he has a crown.
Right. And that's kind of making fun of the emperor and religion and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I do think that he still has the writings. He has it going down his face, but they're glowing now.
Does he still have the 6'9"?
No. That guy made a lot of money.
He got a freaking record deal.
I know.
In jail.
I know. I don't like him though. But so if you guys check out the Battlefleet Armada 2 trailer for like the Dark Gods, there is a guy that looks almost like Thanos. That's who I imagine Lorgar to look like. He has like the tattoos, but just with like a crown thorn or a throne of horns. And then what was the other one?
Perturabo.
So Perturabo is just really ugly and like really mechanical. So think of like what are the Chaos Corrupted Dreadnoughts called?
Oh, the Obliterators?
It's like an obliterator.
Yeah, it looks like a big Obliterator.
Yeah. Good question though. Will we ever see them? Probably not.
I hope so, but it won't be for a long time.
Probably when we are like in our 70s.
I mean, rumor has it Slanesh and Fulgrim are coming out soon, but it's been the rumor for how long now?
Yeah, no, but Emperor's Children. No. Yeah, Emperor's Children are coming out with something. I think that's been verified. Anyways, and then we'll say this is the last question because I don't know how long this video has been. General Revan, would an engineer from the Dark Age of technology be considered a high techno priest? No, because he doesn't believe in the Omnissiah. So like the Adeptus Mechanicus, what I think you mean is like a tech priest, like what's the fabricator general? Like something big. And what it is like in order to become a Magos, in order to become a tech priest or anything in the Adeptus Mechanicus, you have to adopt the beliefs of the Adeptus Mechanicus. And they're very like strict, and they're very dogmatic.
Don't they have different cults as well?
Yeah.
So would you have to be in the cult of the
Cult Mechanicus?
Well, isn't there like a cult of the what's it called?
There's like different factions once you actually get into it.
But is there like one faction that's like this is the true?
Yep, the Cult Mechanicus, and they have.
Guess that's why it's called Dark Mechanics.
Yeah, no, but there are like loyal. I guess they're not loyalists, but they're Adeptus Mechanicus cults that aren't really like Dark Mechanicus. So I get what you're saying. I just don't know their actual faction names. But yeah, that Dark Age of technology engineer wouldn't worship the machine spirit, wouldn't worship the Omnissiah, which you have to do in order to become a priest, a tech priest. But yeah. Those were the questions of today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. If we didn't get to your question, please try again. And now that we're going to be spending more time answering one specific question, what I would recommend is reading through the questions because they're labeled as questions and then thumbing them up if you like it, or thumbing up your own. Create like 10 different fake accounts and thumb up your question. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button though. I wonder if you can actually say that. This video is going to get deleted by YouTube because I said that.
But yeah, also let us know what the sound is like.
Oh, yeah.
Do you enjoy it? Is it different? Is it strange? Is it strange holding these things?
It is. I'm sweaty.
But it's going to be harder to get to your questions, but try again.
This was Gershwin,
the Sound Alchemist, and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.